purpose. You've known it from the beginning.
This game is not going to get glowing reviews like the OG, Mark II, V2, Super NEP RPG Virtual Stars, and etc. However, it's not going to evoke detachment from me like Action U or Mega Tagmanship. Nor is it going to be reviled like Victory, Rebirth 3, the Holy Sword ending, Ninja Wars, and so on. Yes, I've most likely forgotten a few, but that is immaterial. Where I'm getting at with this is that my views on this game are mixed. This game is mid to high mid. However, compared to the rest of the spin-offs, this game is a step in the right direction. Now, it may seem paradoxic to start with negatives, but I want to end things on a positive note rather than a bitter one. So I'll start with the negatives. Planeptune is way too large. By that, I mean it's entirely empty and not lived in. It doesn't feel lived in, and yeah, I know the point in its story to be so, but that brings in a potentially different criticism. For a story that says most people are holed up due to the setting summoning new monsters and such, Planeptune looks unusually pristine. This leads to one of two problems, both outcomes indicating a poorly thought out usage of its setting. They did not invest enough time into their design to show how overrun Planeptune is with monsters, or B, if that assumption is false about monsters overrunning Planeptune, then there is no justification for Planeptune to be so large and empty. Planeptune doesn't come across as Metropolis. It comes across as a Unity sandbox that the developers forgot to populate. I feel like next time they wish to try such a Metropolis setting, they should do some more research on how to populate a massive Metropolis, even in a general quarantine, as they are so desperate to try and imply. Remember, the point of Planeptune is that it's supposed to be the most technologically advanced nation, and therein the most populated. But it does not come across as such. That also brings in another annoyance of mine, that it's a missed opportunity to show us Planeptune, but not show us Louis, La Station, Limbox, or hell, even the PC continent. Instead, we get crappy 3D caves built on reused 2D CGs. Which brings my next problem. Somewhat new coat of paint, same old shit. There are new caves and areas, yes, but they are outpopulated by old areas brought with a new shiny veneer. Same goes for most of the characters and their designs. For fuck's sake, I am so damn sick of their current Hyperdimension designs. One of my few likes of Ninja Wars was the diversity of its clothing designs. Sure, I dislike the Megumi's base design, as in the human forms based design, but that was more of a disparity of quality between base forms and HDD forms. Also, in the same way as, the setting dissonance of both sets of girls for both the goddesses and the Ninja Wars girls, or the Senran Kagura girls. I personally think the canon girls could use some sprucing up from past designs like Virtual Stars, and heck, even the designs from the HDD characters from Ninja Wars. Give us some level of continuity from the spin-offs, even if it's super minor. Like, Ninja Wars has literally my favorite green art design. Like, give, Nepgear some frilly white or pink fur at, like, the collar that, the nape of their neck, that, like when she's wearing that one-piece dress, have maybe like tiny little pink or purple fur or something. Also, I'm tired of the lack of the character growth, both design-wise and writing-wise. I can glean some traits of the story from the game, and I can safely bet you that there's no progression in their relationships, friendships, and character growth. Nep is still a blithering retard, Noir is still the butt of the joke, pun both intended and unintended, Rom's still a scaredy cat with an unusually soft voice, and Ram is just Ram. The only good character change is Nepgear. Another thing I find obnoxious about this game is its model animations. Yeah, this gets me in a lot of hot water, and I get it. Y'all don't care about how stilted and like a ventriloquist's puppet that their animations are, but I fucking do care when seeing their animations look so fucking stilted. People don't move like this. Hey, post-script and post-edit one man here. I did discover one thing that I did like about the new models And that's the fact that while they're bad in the story and game, it is nice to be able to have nice variations of these different character designs and movements. Because it's good to have these expressions, but it's just so stilted. Like, look at this, okay? That's so janky. But it is nice to be able to see differing sides of Neptune and the characters. I will give you that. I will give the fandom that. But that's in isolation from the story. But I do like these, and I like how you could probably rotoscope all these poses and like use them as animation resources. So if I really wanted to, I could have someone like rotoscope all the character models. You know, like if I wanted to do like story related stuff with my fan fiction or whatnot, I could like have someone rotoscope all the different poses, and I could do a lot with this. I think that we can in fact get something good out of this. People can creatively do something awesome with these assets. So I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. I am a fair man, and that while some of these poses are kind of jank, and even more noticeable in the story than the feature. Oh hey, it's Histoire. Take me as your goddamn bride, Histoire. I know, right? That's an appropriate response to my proposal. I'm sorry. I know I'm cringe, but whatever. Oh my god, I just enjoy that. See, the thing is I'm not entirely heartless. I can enjoy when things are enjoyable. I just wish these were backed by a better story and weren't so goddamn janky. Look, it's not even remotely close to the best live 2D animation. In fact, Spirit Pledge is much better. I just wanted to add this in because I'm not like saying the stuff I'm saying about the character movements for the sole sake of hating on it. I genuinely want these animations to be better and believable. That is the point I'm making about that. The problem is that live 2D rigging is very, very, very difficult to do. Like, I'm not ripping on like the aspect of live 2D. I know it's very difficult, but at the same time, there is a level of expectation of quality. Especially if this is the direction IFI, Idea Factory, and Compile Art are going to go in the future. If in the future you're doing this style and using Live 2D rigging, or whatever you're using, they may even be doing Vroid for all I know. But point being is, if you're going to use these animations, you gotta fucking, you gotta fucking improve and make it look organic to how people move and act. I'm sorry, but there's certain aspects of these renders that are not acceptable. That being said, enough of my nonsense. I just wanted to add this in because I feel like I was a little harsh on the models, maybe a little too much, and I wanted to like maybe get some clarity as to what my point was about these, and that I just want them to be better and improved. Thank y'all. Back to your regularly scheduled programming with my review. See you next time.
Ultimately, it comes down to two traits that your mileage may vary. One, however much realism you need to believe that these characters move, talk, and act like real people, though that topic is its own entire can of worms, trust me on that. B, or two, how much you enjoy Neptunia and Friends. Guess how I feel about that app. Time for me to talk about something that I rarely critique as a bad thing in Neptunia games. The soundtrack. Yeah, that's right, this is a negative, though the actual new track are not what the problem is. It's the fact that only 9 tracks are original. 6 or 7 if you don't count remixes. That's unacceptable. That being said, the tracks we do get are phenomenal. Don't worry, I do intend on getting to the positives soon. Some more negatives now. Sound design. I can explain the problems with the sound design without saying anything other than turn off the BGM and character voices and leaving it solely to the sound effects. Next is the Purple Reaper trophy grind. Keep in mind that the Reaper grind is ludicrous. You need to kill 10,000 enemies, and when playing the game as organic as possible, each playthrough for each ending, assuming you do the 3 endings separately, is about 1,000. So operating on that logic, you're basically wasting countless hours doing mind-numbing nonsense in the Colosseum to grind for that I swear it is an intended method of destroying your own brain matter. Next is Kappa complaining about how aggravating it is for people to refuse a certain vaccine from a certain C virus. Whether you're anti-vax or are like me who got the vax, the behest of my doctor, who I trust with my life. and also for the sake of my family. The biggest problem is that you're adding in severe problems that would never be factored into game industry. It's a severe immersion breaker, and an insert for IFI and maybe even IF to insert their politically illiterate opinions into the game. Unless you don't treat TV tropes as a reliable source to said claims about such a meta reference. Which, to be fair, they do unironically think I'm a bigot and banned me for threatening to cancel them for suspending a disabled person. So if you doubt their claims that Compa complains about vaccines, which, by the way, Compa, did you know that a large portion of your in-real-life counterparts resigned from the medical field due to vaccine mandates? Makes you seem even more moronic than usual. If TV tropes is not, has a valuable opinion on whether Compa said that or not, then I don't blame you. Next is that this game is far more reliant on weapon scaling and armor scaling rather than character progression and leveling. Which leads into to the next problem, actually. This game relies on an AP count like Mark II, while making the AP count restricted beyond what I find acceptable. Even at the max level of your characters, the AP is around 25. Any sort of AP beyond it would probably be an armor equipment aspect. For reference, once you maxed out your characters in Mark II, you could go well beyond the normal AP count for a character. Could have sworn, the moment I got, all the endings in several playthroughs, I think I had 70 some odd AP. There was an actual incentive in the mechanics of Mark II to reach the higher levels. There's really no reason to focus on levels as a result unless you're trying to trophy hunt, since this is a game that focuses on weapons and armor, that it chooses to restrict your AP heavily, well beyond what's normal. They did this restriction to give off an illusion of a combination of ARPG and turn-based RPG mechanics. It was an experiment that, in my opinion, died upon arrival, because its founding principles were the problem from the start. I know you guys are tired of me referencing this game because of how much I love this game, but once more I suggest and cite Atelier Sophie 2 for a proper example of integration. Oh, and we're back to 3 front party members, which is a regression yet again. And also without a switch between the back 3 from what I've seen. As previous games, you could actually switch the back to the front. Feel free to correct me on this if you've actually figured out how to do something like that, because I may be wrong. You may know more about Japanese than me, and therefore know a button mechanic that allows you to switch, but until I see visual examples of that, I hold my argument. So when it comes to this game's negatives, it's mostly boiled down to interesting ideas, but poorly thought out execution. You can see what they are going for, but also seeing how poorly they're implemented. But enough about that stuff, for the game has some positive traits. The disc development system is a massive improvement. No longer are you restricted to finding discs and implementing limited effects. Now you have full control of the effects discs have, and you have a total limit of discs of 999. Kind of odd how overly restrictive the game is about AP, but literally not about discs, to the point where you will never need 999 discs. Next is a positive of using Mintubu, aka YouTube/Twitter, to adjust shares. Makes it easier to adjust for the endings you wish to get. Speaking of which, the return of multiple endings! Thank fuck! Seriously, a serious trait of Neptunia was their multiple endings. It's something I enjoyed about the series and constantly miss the ability to have them. It allows the writers to write different results and explore different ideas. For games like Neptunia, multiple endings are a must. Next is the verticality of the city. I know this is an odd complaint, considering I complained about how vast yet empty it is. However, the design of Planetoon Towers, or the Planetoon Tower, has some solid, internal solid maps, Not to mention the view at the top looking down at Planetoon is amazing and breathtaking too. Background art, as usual, is fantastic overall. There's a monster tower you can go through basically at chapter 12. that you unlock, and at the top, like 90 some odd levels or something like that. There's dark purple from Neptunia V2, but smaller size in humanoid size and much sexier. Roll 34, do your job. The new makers are nice, Higurashi and whatnot. Nice to see Higurashi and Toho get a nod. Now make Umineko and my fanfic canon. Anyways, I enjoy all the character designs for Maho, the makers, Greyheart, and Henri. Though I am worried about whether they'll portray Maho as a Walmart Uzume, because she's giving me those severe vibes. Next is that the true final end boss battle is fucking great. In my opinion, I love how R4 turns. I was always one of those guys who didn't hate R4's continued presence. Always felt like it was kind of integral to the Neptunia identity to have that constant feud between main protagonist and antagonist. Think of it like Light Yagami versus L from Death Note. The idea is that you can enjoy the two from Death Note feud because there's always a neat little idea or wrinkle that changes things up. I feel that way about R4 and Neptune. My issue was always how in V2/V2R they made R4's appearance seem trivial. But now she's being taken seriously again, and I enjoy that aspect. I refuse to enjoy any characters not being treated appropriately. Seeing R4 be influential again is fucking wonderful. Next is that I enjoy the new share system mechanics and its quests. Anyways, ultimately, make your own decisions. If you disagree with me, that's fine, but these are things you should look out for. This is a game that is intent on testing the waters, and while a lot of the execution is poor, it still has some worth. The term I'd use to describe my feelings about this game is cautious hope. My expectations are severely tempered as of completing and 100%ing this game, but I can at least see its merits and why it might appeal to the lower common denominator. This game for me is about mid to high mid in value, and I'm sure I've already said that before. I'd rate the game at a range of 7 out of 10 to 8.5 out of 10. This game's quality will be made or broken depending solely on the merits of its story. That is the conscious tale I shall tell you. Now, I have a few videos I have planned before, the Neptunia pitch miniseries and whatnot. There's one where I go and voice over the Colonel Sanders visual novel. That's going to be a fun little comedy video. I will also be uploading more games from both the Ace Attorney trilogy for the OG trilogy and Chronicles. I'll be making a video debunking a lot of false assumptions about me and the Neptunia fandom. Maybe I'll start my work for Far Cry 5's review and Far Cry Primal's review. Not sure how I'm going to go about that one yet. I have a few other projects waiting in the wings, as well as a planned new PFB and banner sometime relatively soon. Thank you for watching. You guys all know what to do with my social medias. Just remember that my will is absolute. Shades Event Mafia for life.
I paid my dues. I want what's owed to me.